To present our final award this evening, we've invited back an old friend. He truly needs no introduction, the man, the myth, the legend, but I will introduce him anyways. I'd like to welcome Ted Carroll, former president and CEO of Leadership Greater Hartford, to the stage to present our Visionary Award this evening. Let's give it up for Ted.
Thank you. Thank you, Andre, and good evening, friends. It is such an honor for me to be with you today to present a Polaris Award to Jason Jakubowski. I've come to know and admire Jason over a 15-year period. He's been an exemplary LGH participant in multiple programs, an active board member, superb board chair, and one of the most enthusiastic ambassadors that Leadership Greater Hartford could ever imagine. And despite having an almost pathological loyalty to a certain team from the Bronx, I consider Jason a very good friend and a community leader I would be willing to follow at any time. And let me tell you why. Think back to March 2020. COVID had suddenly shut down Connecticut. Fear was gripping the state. Food pantries were closing to keep their workers and patrons safe. Volunteers, on whom organizations like Foodshare and Leadership Greater Hartford and others must depend, had to stay home because of COVID. Meanwhile, the demand for food was spiking, and those who needed that food had no way to get it. But Jason Jakubowski and Foodshare sprang into action distributing produce from a parking lot at the Hartford Regional Market. As up to 1,000 cars a day began driving through that site, however, they needed something bigger. Jason immediately thought of nearby Rentschler Field in East Hartford with its sprawling parking lots. Food distribution was launched there April 20th, 2020, and will end actually this Saturday after 18 months of operation, a hopeful sign that the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic are finally ebbing. But at the peak of the pandemic, Foodshare was providing food at its drive-through sites that resulted in up to 2,800 meals a day. Overall, Connecticut Foodshare has loaded food into more than 277,000 cars, and it's been enough food to make about 8 million meals, all delivered in a way to preserve the dignity of the needy, many of whom were seeking assistance for the very first time in their lives. It was a crowning achievement for Jason and his team, but not the only one since he became the organization's CEO 4 years ago. Consider these other accomplishments. Shortly after he arrived at Foodshare, he rallied the staff and almost immediately boosted the employee morale. Just 1 year after Jason's tenure, the Hartford Current recognized Foodshare as one of the region's top workplaces, an honor it has won every year since. And then, knowing that it's never enough to feed people for a day, Jason found new ways to continue the organization's long-standing commitment to eradicate the root causes of hunger and poverty. He helped launch the innovative Foodshare Institute for Hunger Research and Solutions, and its findings are being used throughout the country. And even in the depths of the pandemic, Jason helped to engineer the merger a year ago of Foodshare and the Connecticut Food Bank. And today, Connecticut Foodshare has more than 100 employees, 8,000 volunteers, and offices in Bloomfield, Wallingford, and Bridgeport. Despite all that he has done in such a short period of time, Jason remains humble and simply credits his Connecticut Foodshare teammates. Well, that modesty is just one of the reasons he's an outstanding leader. He's also a great listener. He's decisive. He trusts his staff implicitly. And while he is a relentless New York Yankee fan, he is even more relentless about serving people and partners throughout Connecticut. Simply put, he leads with empathy, sympathy, and humanity. Friends, let me just quote some of the people who work most closely with Jason. Says one employee, Jason's leadership always puts people first. Says another, it's an extraordinary place to work. There's a consistent sense of team. No one thinks that they are better than anyone else. As a board member succinctly puts it, with Jason, it's all about service. Serving others is in Jason's DNA, but it begins with his family, particularly the 5 children that he and his wife are raising in West Hartford. But his heart is big enough to share with the larger community as well. His public service career started early. In fact, he was elected in New Britain at the tender age of 21 as a city councilman. And then at 25, he became New Britain's treasurer. And whether it was with Charter Oak State College, the Hospital for Special Care, or now with Connecticut Foodshare, Jason simply says, I've always just wanted to do something to help the community. Well, what bigger challenge could he tackle than working to end hunger in this state? Imagine, ending hunger in Connecticut. Well, for daring to dream what some might call an impossible dream, Leadership Greater Hartford is proud to present Jason Jakubowski with the 2021 Visionary Polaris Award. Jason, congratulations.
Both of our teams have gone home. I just said to Ted that both of our teams have gone home for the season, unfortunately. You guys didn't tell me that Ted was going to be introducing me, and I, Ted, I treasure our friendship very much over the last 15 plus years. But thank you for those kind words. And everybody at Leadership Greater Hartford, it's a wonderful organization. Andre, Rosita, Larissa, my fellow Yukon Husky, you already are a terrific leader of this organization. And then of course my dear friend Tisa, who I kind of left chairing this board of directors. I asked you to be my vice chair a few years ago. You said yes, and who knew all that there'd be a pandemic? But no, I mean, Tisa is the paragon of leadership and friendship herself. So thank you for everything that you do. To all the other award winners, it's just an honor to be here with you guys here tonight and sharing this stage here at iHeartRadio. My great friend Renee Danino is here. She's not just a partner of ours in the community, but Sarah and I love you and Sal like family, and you guys are the best. And we're looking forward to spending a lot of time together as we do every Thanksgiving. Turkey Tuesday right around the corner, so it should be a lot of fun. In terms of all of these very nice things that Ted was saying about me, I always look back to the fact that it wouldn't be possible without 3 very distinct groups of people. First is my board of directors. Beth Henry and our board of directors are just, it's a tremendous board made up of selfless people who are only concerned about helping to feed people here in the state of Connecticut. I couldn't do what I do, and I couldn't lead the way that I do if it wasn't for them allowing me to do that and supporting me 100% of the time. Leadership starts at the top, and while I get it, Connecticut Foodshare has done a lot of wonderful things. At the end of the day, it's all because of our board of directors. Secondly, my team. I come from a sports family. I believe, my dad was a longtime coach. I'm a longtime coach. Nobody does anything alone. Certainly in this business, nobody does everything alone. Certainly not in the nonprofit sector, and certainly not during a pandemic. I can't say enough about the people I work with, both the employees and the volunteers out there in the community. Very simply, we couldn't accomplish any of this without them. And while, yes, I mean, we've been out there 18 months with these drive-through distributions, it would not have been possible without the staff, without the volunteers who were out there in rain, in wind, sleet, 100-degree weather, 0-degree weather. Every time Renee came out to one of those sites, it rained. It was guaranteed. It was guaranteed. Her hair was a mess. I didn't have that problem. But But my team is amazing, and I work with the best people in the state of Connecticut. And then finally, my family. And I think there's a lot of times that people see, public versions of people. People see what goes on in the public sector, and people see what, all of these news clips and little sound bites and stuff like that. At the end of the day, it's about who you go home to, and I am very, very fortunate and blessed to go home to my wife, Sarah, my 5 children, my parents, my brother, my in-laws. We're a very close family, and if I didn't have them at the end of the day to go home to, I don't think we would have been able to accomplish any of this over the last 18 months. Last thing I want to say, listening to all of these stories here today and reflecting on this, we live in a tough world right now. It's not easy out there. There's a lot of hate, there's a lot of malice, there's a lot of anger, and that's unfortunate. But one of the things that I've seen here in the last 18 months, here in the state of Connecticut, here in the Greater Hartford area, when you look at people who work for and volunteer for organizations like Connecticut Foodshare, who work for and volunteer for organizations like Leadership Greater Hartford, one of the things that I have seen firsthand is despite all of that, despite all of the cynicism out there, this is a community that believes in gratitude. This is a community that believes in this, in partnership, and this is a community in which love wins in the end every single time. So thank you very much. This is quite the honor. Thank you.
Actually, before you leave, Jason, a point of past president privilege.
Oh, that's not.
Jason's the kind of guy, he is such a loyal friend. He would take the shirt off his back. And so last week I decided to take the shirt, my favorite shirt, off my back. I just want you to know, if at any point you need the shirt off my back, this is yours. Just call my name.
That's not going to happen.
But it's there.
I appreciate
We just talked about love and unity.
This is love. This is sharing.
We are live, friends. We are live. Let's give another round of applause to all 4 honorees.